Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, I don't have white seats anymore, and I've got this giant long roof. This is not my Model 3, obviously. This is the Model Y that I'm in. And my wife and I have been thinking of possibly moving up to a Model Y, but we figured we don't know if it's worth it with how much we've put into the Model 3 already, if changing up and getting a Y would be worth it. So we took one for an overnight test drive, and you know what, let me tell you about it. Yeah, folks, welcome back. My name is Dax. This is Tesla Talks. If you're new to this channel and you've never seen it before, hit the subscribe button. This is what we do. We talk about Tesla and all different things. I have a Model 3. This happens to be a Model Y that I'm in, but my normal car is a Model 3. And we just wanted to find out how this Model Y is compared to a Model 3. This isn't one of those typical Model Y videos where we compare to the 3. This is going to be strictly a driver and user comparison. Someone that's for the last 2.5 years has had a Model 3 and in the last 24 hours has driven this Y. Want to see the comparison. So, you know, the argument could be made that, okay, you're not driving the Y long enough to make a true comparison, but this is the best we can do. Before we get any further, folks, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you think that I should trade it in for a Model Y, and let me know what you think the pros and cons are between the two of them. Now, a little bit of background. Like I said, if you're not familiar with the channel, I have a 2018, one of the very first, probably a mid 20,000 VIN range. So one of the early Model 3s. It is a long-range Model 3. Rear-wheel drive, so it's got the big battery, but it only has a single motor. And I've had it for 2.5 years. It just went over 80,000 kilometers, and I've been loving it ever since the day I got it. That's where I stand right now. My wife and I are figuring maybe upgrading to something a little bit bigger, and the Model Y is definitely, I can say that, a little bit bigger. Not huge, like inside is bigger, and we definitely notice it. We had the kids when we picked it up last night. We had the kids in the back, and right away, you can tell that the back is bigger. And that middle armrest there with that cup holder and everything, you can see that it's considerably wider than the Model 3s. So that makes, in my opinion, makes it look bigger, and actually probably is bigger. The kids looked really, really tiny in there. They've got more leg room because of the raised seats in the front. They seem to be further back than in the Model 3 compared to the front seat passengers. Now, this could just be an illusion, but I think it is. Now, what is very noticeable that I'll say, if you've got kids or you have people that go in the back seat and you're in a Model 3 right now and you're thinking of the Model Y just like our family situation, is the passengers that are in the back seat are considerably lower than they are in a Model 3. And the reason why we figured out is because of a couple factors. A, the front seats, the passenger and driver side, are, as we know, in a Model Y are on risers, so they're higher off the ground. Whereas the back seats, they're not on any risers. They're flat to the ground. Maybe a little bit higher than the Model 3, but they're basically flat to the ground. So just that whole illusion of sitting in the back seat and looking up to the front occupants, like the driver or the front passenger, you're looking up because they're up automatically higher as it is right away. But also because the doors and the window sills, where the window starts, is also higher. So when you're sitting in the back seat there, like my son and my daughter were saying that they feel like they're lower. Well, like I said, they probably are, because now all of a sudden the door handle and the door ledge, like the window sill, is higher because the door itself and the window is higher in a Model Y than it is in a Model 3. So that is one of the things we noticed right away. So anyone that has passengers in the back or accustomed to having passengers in the back, you'll notice that right away. More room, but they seem to be sitting lower in there. Moving on to the creature comforts of the Model Y compared to the 3. When you get in it, other than sitting up higher, everything is the same in a Model 3 as is in this new Model Y. This one is a 67, around a 67,000 VIN number, so it's fairly up there. But it doesn't. It has all the upgrades and stuff like that, but it doesn't have the new center console. It still has the piano black console. Say whatever you want about that, folks. So when you sit behind the wheel of this Model Y and you're accustomed to Model 3, there'll be no difference, obviously, other than just the seats being higher up on risers and the car being higher up. almost SUV. It's not fully SUV, but almost like an SUV. That's the biggest noticeable change. Like I said, everything else, if you're familiar with the Model 3, you'll be totally at home in this Model Y. The same thing. The one thing we noticed it within the first 5-10 minutes of this car, and I confirmed this with a friend of mine that already has a Model Y that came from a Model 3, Tesla Connect, Paul, he confirmed this for me, is my wife and I noticed right away, even the kids noticed, and the kids, you know, they're usually oblivious to any kind of environmental thing or exterior element that affects them, but they actually noticed, is that this car heats up really, really quick. A lot quicker than the Model 3. Now, once again, this is almost a 2.5-3 year difference in technology and build quality and everything like that since my car compared to this car. So you could say, you know, that's just refinements in Tesla. That's why the car is warmer and heats up warmer. But I don't know, like, we do have the new double pane glass on these cars, so maybe that's keeping in the heat a little bit more. We've got the heat pump and the octo valve that's maybe creating heat quicker. I'm not sure. I know it's supposed to be more efficient for the battery pack and the car itself, but it is heating up very, very quickly, and when it heats up, it's keeping the heat a lot longer. I did notice a difference, and that's probably the biggest difference my wife and I noticed. She seems to think that the seats are wider. I don't know. They look the same to me as a Model 3. I'm pretty sure they're identical seats as the Model 3. She seems to think they feel wider. The wraparound lumbar support that wraps you around your waist there and your hips, she seems to think is wider. I don't know. I haven't noticed it. Of course, this has the built-in wireless charger from Tesla. We haven't noticed any difference. Right now in the 3, I have the Jada, I think it's version 2, wireless charger, and that works great too. This one's built in. I haven't noticed any difference other than I don't think you can put it in landscape to charge like you can in the Jada. And of course, folks, this is the dual motor all-wheel drive. I'm accustomed to a rear-wheel drive. I wish when I had this for a test drive, I wish it was a snowstorm. One of the only times I actually wish for snow, but this is the time I actually wish, because I wouldn't mind testing it out. The roads are wet. It rained all last night coming home as we drove this car home, and I picked this car up about 50 kilometers or 30 miles away from my home. I had to go on a little trek. So I had a good highway drive home in the rain and everything like that, and I can say it doesn't feel any different than my Model 3, which is just the rear-wheel drive. But I think in some snow, and if I took this off-road, I would notice a difference. And, you know, that extra motor is just peace of mind. It's obviously more money too, but it's peace of mind that I'm willing to pay for. I was going to wait for the rear-wheel drive and see what the price difference is, because we had the rear-wheel drive in the 3 for the last 2.5 years and never had a problem with some good winter tires on, and I was going to do the same. But you know what, for an extra, here in Canada it's about 10 grand. In the States I think it's an extra 6 grand or 7 grand for the extra motor. It is a lot of money, but when you factor in the finance, if you finance it, then you spread it over depending on how long your term is, it probably doesn't add up to that much more. But, you know, it all depends on every individual's budget. So even though I said I would hold off for the long range, the rear-wheel drive version of the Y, if I was to do it, and I'm not saying that we're going to do it, but if we were to do it, we'd probably go with the all-wheel drive, just for sense of security. At the end of the day, my personal reasons for getting this is, yeah, I will, if we did trade this in for trade the 3 in for this would be my daily driver until the Cybertruck comes. As soon as the Cybertruck comes, whatever we have, whether it's the 3 or the Y, would inherently be my wife's, because right now she drives the Toyota Tacoma, the gas car, but the Cybertruck would be replacing that. She drove this morning, and she says it's higher than the 3, and she loves it. At the end of the day, she said she'll drive whatever is there. She will not drive the Cybertruck. She's made that very clear. She's coming around to it, and I told her once we have the Cybertruck, she'll warm up to it even more. But right now, she won't drive it. Whatever we have, the 3 or the Y, is going to be hers. So that's why I'm thinking of when she has to drive the kids around as they get older, this would be more her speed, with the hatchback and the tailgate opening up and stuff like that. Not having a traditional sedan trunk would be good for her. So a lot of rambling on, I know. This is typically what I do. If you're familiar with my channel, you know that. But I just want to let you guys know, this is my experience between in a 24-hour span, not even a 24-hour span, but the difference between the 3 and the Y coming from an owner of the 3 for a long, I guess you can call a long-term owner. There's not much longer I could have had my 3 compared to most people. So I guess I would like to say that I think it's safe to say that I'm experienced Model 3 driver, and getting into a Y, I can have a good opinion of the Y compared to the 3 and make that comparison very educatedly. Educatedly a word? I'm not sure. Some of the other little differences that I've noticed, the side mirrors are for some reason smaller. Like, they're taller. I guess they need to be taller in an SUV. They're taller than my 3, but they're narrower. They're not as long, if that makes sense. And they don't have the auto dimming feature on it, which I missed, because driving home last night I did get the brights from some cars behind me with their headlights. They have it on the back window. Speaking of the back window, sorry, not the back window, the rear view mirror. But speaking of the back window, it is considerably smaller than the Model 3. When I first got into the Model 3, I thought that was small, but this Model Y is considerably smaller. But after having it just a few hours driving it, I've already gotten used to it. It is smaller, but what you need to see out of it, I guess you get to see out of it. Now, looking out the car, visibility wise, from a driver point of view, I guess because it is a bigger and a different angled windshield, it would be a different windshield than the 3. It wouldn't be the exact same windshield just popped on there on a different angle. I'm assuming it's a different windshield. It doesn't look any bigger. I can see out this car as well as I could in my Model 3, so there's no difference there. The wipers look about the same size. They are a different configuration. I noticed the passenger wiper arm is angled up a little different, so take it for whatever it's worth. It is different. It clears it just as well. Yeah, so in closing, folks, I would lose small little things. The premium connectivity, I would lose that. Right now I'm grandfathered in for life. I have that. I would lose that. I'd get it for an introductory 1 year, like any new Tesla owner, and then after a year I would lose it. So do I want to pay the subscription for it? No. The biggest thing I think I would lose if I don't get it in the Y would obviously be full self-driving. It comes with autopilot. My car, I paid, at the time when I got it, it had enhanced autopilot, and that's what I got. And then I got the full self-driving at a basement bargain price when it went on sale for $2,000. So I lucked out. So that would be hard to let go of now and then have to replace for $10,000. Because here in Canada, right now it's $10,000. It could go up to $13,000 real quick if it follows the steps like in the US. So that would be a hard pill to swallow. The subscription service is coming, so that's something we could think of doing to make it a little easier than swallowing that $10,000+ difference in getting it, because that would suck. Let me tell you, that would suck unless it went on another sale, which I cannot ever see it going on a kind of sale like it did back then. Now that FSD beta is out, I just can't see Elon putting it down for anything under $5,000 discount at any time. That would be that I think at the end of the day, taking into factor how much we've already paid into the Model 3, would be the biggest drawback or the biggest negative right now on switching over to a Y, would be that full self-driving. Tell me what you guys think. Should I make the change? I mean, yeah, the Y is a better car. We know that. There's no debating that. Just in terms of coming from a 3 to a Y for as long as I've had my 3, what do you guys think? Should I trade in my car? If you want to buy my car, my Model 3 Maven, with all the stuff that I've done on it, with my stealth wrap, that car has been wrapped after week 3 that I've had, so the midnight metallic paint underneath, I think, yeah, silver, midnight metallic silver, that paint is pristine and like with paint corrected, like I said, from the factory 3 weeks after I got the car, so it's in perfect condition. No dings, no dents, no paint chips, nothing. That's what the paint protection film is all about. If you guys want to buy it, let me know. Comment down below, get a hold of me by email or message me in any of the social media thing. I talk now like it sounds like we're doing it, but it'll be over time. Wife and I will have to sit down and talk about things and talk about finances and talk about life changes, and if we're ready financially in our stage of life to get another car payment when we know that we have one coming up in the next year or two anyways with the Cybertruck. That is definite. This is a maybe. The Cybertruck is a definite. So we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, folks, thanks for staying. If you're with me now this long, thanks for staying tuned with me and putting up with all my rambling and stuff like that. This will probably be my last video, just like a lot of YouTubers have been saying in the last little while. This will probably be my last video for the year. I might do a New Year's Eve video or something like that. Hopefully maybe do a podcast between now and then. But if I don't talk to you before then, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being with me all year through this weird and crazy time. And next year we'll do it all over, bigger and better.